Guys, this video is brought to you by our friends at Lucy. Lucy was founded by Caltech scientists on a mission to reduce tobacco-related harm with a tobacco alternative that doesn't suck. As former smokers dissatisfied with traditional nicotine options, they knew there had to be a better way for adult tobacco users. It was a big challenge, but they did it with their innovative nicotine gum. With 4 milligrams of nicotine in each piece, you can get a dose anywhere, anytime. I encourage my friends who smoke to choose Lucy gum over cigarettes or vapes for all the obvious reasons. As you know, nicotine is addictive, so please use discretion. Lucy's gum comes in 3 delicious flavors: wintergreen, cinnamon, and pomegranate. My favorite is wintergreen. Visit lucy.co and use the promo code CHAEL20 to save 20% off your entire order. That's lucy.co, or click on the link in the description. Remember, nicotine is addictive, so use discretion. All right, guys, I must tell you, there is no way to be on the heels of a performance and even a career. I mean, if Khabib is calling it a rap and this is a career, there's no way to not at least discuss what would have been Khabib versus my guest, George St-Pierre. George, certainly you watched the fight, man. What are your thoughts?
It was a masterful performance. I mean, what a great way to finish, I would say, a perfect career with a perfect fight. It was amazing.
Now, let me ask you this. One thing that would likely hold Khabib back, absent of tonight, one thing that would likely hold Khabib back in conversations of who was the most skilled to ever do it. Look, there's 3 dynamics of the fight. You got the stand-up, you got being on top, you've got being on bottom. Khabib has been so good, George, that we've never seen him on bottom. Tonight, he put himself there twice and got a finish. I mean, am I right to bring that up, that over the legacy of his career, that was a special thing to see him on his back?
Yeah, it's not because we never saw him fighting from his back that he's not competent and good from his back. I mean, we saw tonight, he did a beautiful transition, and he finished with a triangle choke. It was amazing.
Okay, so I gotta think I'm not the only guy calling you right now. I mean, I imagine your phone is going off because what could have been appears to have been put on hold. Are you buying the retirement talk? I mean, is this real?
I never had an offer. This fight never was official. It was just the reporter talking about it. Even me, I never had an offer about it. I knew Khabib. It was the wish of Khabib, and I was not too much excited about the idea of going to fight him at 155. To tell you the truth, this fight at 155, I would never have took that fight at 155 for sure. To make it happen, it would need it to be in a catch weight. But it was just talk. I never consider it seriously because it was just a talk. It was a fantasy, and I mean, as a fan of the sport, when we talked about it, I got excited as well because fighting someone who seems invincible, it's very scary, but it's also for a fighter a very exciting thing to do. So, but now it's all gone. I mean, it's all good too. What a great way to finish a career. It was amazing.
All right, George, and I fully agree with you. I mean, we're shining Khabib's wheels over here, but in fairness, I mean, he's going to be remembered 29-0, arguably the toughest weight class, 155, and he was the champion. But I do have to ask you this. I need you to personalize this real fast because you have also stayed in the gym. I mean, I talked to your coaches. I talked to some of your teammates. You're in the gym twice a day, every day. And the only thing that's been talked about for 2 years has been Khabib. So on a personal level, when you see Khabib go out, is there a breath of relief by you? I mean, by example, will your training resume as hard as you've been training? You've been pretty clear. I would only come back if it was Khabib.
I always train, Chael, and I will always be training. I remember when I retired, Khabib sent a message on social media saying, "Hey, George, just hang out for one more." And I just talked to Ariel Awani, a friend of mine. He said, "Hey, would you send the same message to Khabib?" And I would say, no, given the circumstances, it would be disrespectful. And I don't want to do that. I mean, for an athlete perspective point of view, it would have been kind of a funny thing to do, But given the circumstances, his father passed away. He need time for the father, his family, and everything. I'm a fan of Khabib as well. I mean, it was just amazing. I mean, I have only good things to say about him, and I want him to be, taking his retirement and just for at least the few next couple of days, not thinking about anything else. That's what you should do, and enjoy it.
All right, George, my final question to you. Is there anything about the fight, Khabib versus Gaethje, that surprised you? By example, we saw a new dynamic. By example, we saw that jab we've heard about. Was there anything that you saw and thought, wow, I'm impressed?
He overwhelmed Justin Gaethje, like it was crazy. Like he won the striking battle, he won the grappling battle, the wrestling battle. He won everything. He overwhelmed Justin from the start to the end. His only one negative thing I would say is he took a few leg kicks that could have caused damage down the road if the fight would have been longer. But however, it was just an incredible display of skill. We've seen everything: boxing, kicking, striking, takedown, beautiful jiu-jitsu. I mean, it was amazing. Normally when Khabib goes for a submission, it's because his opponent is overwhelmed by his crazy good ground and pound and turns away, giving up his back, and Khabib used that as a setup. But today it was purely like he used his ground and pound, but it was purely he demonstrate how good he is as a grappler, as a pure grappler. It was amazing.
All right, George, I got to tell you, there's a part of me that's sad whether you and Khabib were ever going to fight or not. I have had a lot of fun in arguments, in discussions, in what would happen and what ifs. I guess out of respect to Khabib, we're going to have to put this at ease for now, but I assure you, come Monday, you're going to have some new guys. You're going to hear from the Usman. You're going to hear from the Connors. You're going to hear from the Masvidals of the world. The world is not done with George St-Pierre just yet, but thank you for your time.
Chael, I have one thing to say. I mean, I took my retirement almost 3 years ago, and people are still calling me out, but I have a different mentality in life. When I say something, I do it. But in terms of retirement, you never say no. Some people see their life and take decision like it's white or black. Me, sometimes it's gray. I tend to lean towards a certain decision because at the time given, it's the right decision to make. But there's nothing impossible in life. And right now, I mean, I just enjoy life. I'm good where I am right now.
I love it, George. Hey, thank you for taking the time. I know it's family time and it's Saturday. I appreciate you, buddy. I'll be in touch.
It's always a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, pal. All right, guys. George St-Pierre. Look, there's no way to hear what he... By the way, there's no way to hear what he just said. He left the door open. Didn't he? Vince, he left the door open. I tried to close it. I tried to say this topic is done. He said... Never say never. I think that was his words. He said he talked about living in the... I told him Monday he's going to hear from Usman, which he is. By Tuesday he's going to hear from Masvidal, which he is. At some point he's going to hear from Connor. He didn't say no. I don't fully know what to make of, but I feel like I just broke some news over here, which isn't what we do. I feel as though George St-Pierre just left the door open. Did I interpret my own interview wrong? You guys tell me. I will tell you this, though. I have truly had a lot of fun over the years in mythical fights, and many of you can relate, of St-Pierre versus Khabib, particularly when you talk about St-Pierre having to pull down to 155. And there's some fights that we look back on that didn't happen, and some we're sad about. Anderson Silva's a common denominator. Anderson Silva versus St-Pierre was discussed. Anderson Silva versus John Jones, just to offer you guys examples. St-Pierre versus Khabib, in some ways, feels good that it didn't happen. Right? I mean, you don't have opposing forces there. This isn't good versus bad. This was two greats against each other. Would I prefer to see that as to not? Yeah, you bet I would. Does it almost feel as though both stories ended appropriately leaving the what if to the imagination also feels appropriate? I'll leave that to you.